How you doing? Um, I wish I could see all of you this morning, but unfortunately, that's not possible. Um, it is a beautiful day to be alive this morning. I'm excited to have this conversation with you, albeit not in person. Um, I hope it can be as personal as possible over technology. I can't see you if you're used to using Google or Zoom, but unfortunately, they couldn't handle the potential amount of traffic that this live stream might get, and so just want to make sure that the technology works and is smooth. There is a chat function. Um, this chat function will be for our question and response time. Uh, you can see it maybe on your screen as a comment box. I would just ask that all comments are helpful and constructive related to the topic that we're talking about. Um, and I can't promise that we will answer every question, but we will certainly respond and and address as many that we can. Ariel is right here, sitting right to my right. You can't see her on screen. Unfortunately, she's definitely the better looking of the two of us. But she is going to be uh, keeping an eye on the comments and kind of passing them to me as we go. And I will introduce myself for any of you that might not know me or be totally familiar with the foundation, or any of you that might see this video afterwards. My name is Jon Kontz. I am the executive director at the Hortulus Farm Foundation. The Hortulus Farm Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit that owns the Hortulus property and manages the current operations of everything you see happening on the Hortulus property. The Hortulus Farm Foundation is overseen by a board of 4 people: myself, Ariel, and 2 others, Nick Ventresca and Elise Karlitz. The 4 of us work together to make long-range plans. We review financials, review decisions, all kind of like the boring behind-the-scene tax stuff and legal stuff that has to be done to keep a nonprofit in compliance. We are not beholden to any investors or debtors, which is a blessing. But we do feel we feel a sense of responsibility very much to our community, to our team, to our partners, to the township, to our neighbors. We have great relationships, and we really care about the existing relationships we have, and we look forward to expanding those relationships and building on the foundation that we've set. And so it's for this process that we wanted to make this a public process of looking for an operating partner. We want to build on the foundation that we have created so far, and not only ourselves, but many on our team and our partners have sacrificed and invested in. And we look forward to the future being better than it is even today. And so thank you for just joining us for what I will strive to make a brief and constructive, productive, and informative time together. I commit to getting you absolutely by the latest by noon, but I think we could probably get this wrapped up by around 11 o'clock. But noon is definitely a backstop, so don't worry. This won't drag on all day. I certainly can't talk for that long. But we love Hortulus, and I think many of you do too. And I appreciate you showing up today. The amount of effort and I think just the value of Hortulus being a place where people in our community can experience what Bucks County is all about. It's beautiful, it's elevated, it's full of nature, full of kind of this rich farming heritage. And to have a space that's public where our community and people visiting our community can come into and experience that is tremendous. It's a tremendous asset to our community, and we want to keep it as a tremendous asset and build on that. And that is, why we're having this call today is to seek your input, to answer questions, to respond to any concerns or feedback, and also to inform those of you who might be interested in becoming that person who kind of takes Hortulus into its next season. And with that, I will walk you through kind of why we're here. We're not here to tell you how Hortulus is going to enter its next season. We're here to present the what. The what is the opportunity, and why is it that way, and how's it going to work in terms of our process. And we look forward to seeing what comes out of that. We have already had some awesome feedback, some awesome responses, and we look forward to continuing that process. The presentation today will start with me just presenting a little bit about the opportunity, and then we will, the second half of the presentation will be a question and response time. Like I said, not every question will be answered, but all questions that we can respond to and are relevant to the RFP process will be responded to. If you don't see your comment pop up, we haven't seen it. And so you could also just email it to questions@hortulusfarm.com. And if we can't get to it on the call today, we will try to respond via email. But with that being said, what are we doing here today? Well, Ariel and I are embarking on a process to seek an operating partner for Hortulus Farm. We started Hortulus with this vision to create this on-farm experience that's elevated, that's upscale, that connects people with nature, each other, and creatives. And it was really successful from a lot of points of view, maybe a little bit more than we anticipated. I believe that last year we had around 70,000 folks come to the farm and visit and see the programming and participate in it. And that just blew us away. And we're very grateful. And I want to thank anyone on this call who's a part of that. I want to thank you for that, because that was just tremendous. That creates a lot of opportunities. It also creates a lot of operational kind of in the weeds type of decisions and processes, and people who are passionate about a lot of different things. What Ariel and I are going to do in this next season is step back into the nonprofit focus of the things that we're investing in, and the mission of Hortulus Farm, the nonprofit mission of Hortulus Farm, and we're going to seek an operator for the operational on-farm day-to-day side. And you might ask, well, what does that even mean? Are you going to hire someone? Is this going to be a company that comes in? Is it going to be another nonprofit that partners? That's a great question. We are open to a variety of arrangements, but what we are looking for is someone who has their own resources, their own vision, and their own expertise to carry it out. We are not able to, continue with the level of expertise and the level of engagement that's required in that capacity. And so we're looking for someone else who has that vision. It might not stay a garden center. It might, shift a little bit with a new operator. A new operator might come in with a completely different vision for the core experience of Hortulus Farm. We have had a lot of feedback about a farm-to-table breakfast and lunch place would be a great asset in the community. And we agree. We love breakfast and lunch, and we love farm-to-table. But our plan isn't to shift it towards one thing or another. Our plan is to find a person who has a vision and the resources and the commitment to the values that Hortulus Farm has built on so far, and can take that into this next season with what they're passionate about and in the particular direction. Now, we have a lot of partners, which we'll go into, and we'll talk about kind of like our zoning stuff with the township. We'll talk about some of the particulars of what makes Hortulus what it is, um, and some of the vision pieces that are going to inform our decision on what that RFP process hopefully will kind of uncover in terms of alignment. But what we're not going to do right now is put too many qualifications or restrictions on how it needs to happen or what. Just the process we're going to follow to make it a fair and a transparent process and come out with the best result for our community, our team, and ultimately for the property and nature in general. So with that said, I'll reiterate that the goal of this process for Hortulus Farm is to come out with an operator that has a passion for, a vision for, and the resources to implement a core experience that aligns with the value of Hortulus Farm and aligns with the ethos of Hortulus Farm. And so I'll talk really quickly about what that is. So the mission and values of Hortulus Farm is that Hortulus Farm today exists to inspire, educate, and delight its guests. So it's a very specific mission that I believe we're accomplishing today through the garden center, through the farm experience, through the pick your own experience, and the different agricultural experiences we have. I think the core values that shape that are an elevated farm experience. It's upscale, clean, beautiful environment, a warm, hospitable team. That's the soul, the mission of Hortulus Farm, and the values that drive that mission. And we are privileged, I think, to be surrounded by a team and partners that reflect our values and implement them in kind of diverse ways. The vision was for Hortulus Farm is a destination. So it's I don't know if you've been to Hortulus Farm, you will see that you won't find it unless you know where you're going or you put it in your GPS, because it's quite rural and in the middle of nowhere on a narrow street. So if people aren't going there, then they're not going to find it. But that, in a sense, gives us a tremendous advantage, because we can. It holds us to a higher standard of excellence. It holds us to a higher standard of being destination worthy, and that will need to not only, that will need to be definitely descriptive of the next partner, that they have that commitment to being destination worthy. And that is good for the community, not just the community at large and in general, but the community immediately surrounding the farm. We made that commitment with the township, that we would make sure that Hortulus is a place that respects its neighbors, that contributes to a beautiful and clean neighborhood, and we certainly try to uphold that. Currently, the zoning agreement that we have in place with the township is for cocktail tastings and sales, like the food aspect of what we're doing, the cafe and coffee, nursery-related activities, agricultural events, the market, handmade markets that we're doing, and then the sheep experience that we had last year, which was a lot of fun. And that currently our programming is Friday through Sunday, 9 to 5 window. So it's kind of a limited hours, but it's kind of a broad agreement with the township. And our commitment to the township was that we would keep it a farmy experience, that it wouldn't be like a Walmart type box store experience, but that it would feel fitting with the community and fitting with the specific location that we have. Obviously, we have to be mindful of sound, be mindful of traffic, and be mindful of cleanliness, and making sure that we are respecting the limitations of the street and the proximity of our neighbors. The current events that we have at Hortulus are we have a spring opening event, we have a Mother's Day, a Peony Festival, summer festival, and then a late summer wildflower harvest season, and then a Christmas season. So we have a few different kind of seasons throughout the year that we currently plan programming, and every programming that we have currently has, I would say, almost a recipe. We have an agricultural activity, an animal experience, a kind of a kids activation of the experience, and then food, coffee, cocktail, and or wine, and then a shopping component. We don't hire people to put on all of these. There would be a tremendous operational effort. But we have incredible partners that have helped us deliver on an incredible experience with the to create this kind of recipe of one consistent experience around these seasons, but with many different aspects. And so a couple of our partners are the one that you probably see first when you come to Hortulus is Liza Miller, who leases the main greenhouse space. And Liza Miller operates within that greenhouse, retailing antique furniture. We also have Many Hands Coffee. If you had the opportunity to be fueled by them, the coffee is very good. They roast their own coffee. And they have run the cafe 100%. And then we have Amberland Farms, Andy Alps in the flower field, who runs all of the farming aspect. And then we have the Craftery, who handles all of the markets and the European Christmas market. Soundless Spirits out of Yardley had debuted in 2023, the Hortulus Geranium Leaf Botanical Spirit. They handle 100% the production. We trim the plants and send them the leaves, and they make the spirit for us. And they all of the partners are excited to enter into conversation as may be appropriate with the new incoming operating partner. So that's kind of some of the current partnerships, the current programming we have, the current zoning agreement that we have with the township. So just some very general information and a little bit about the mission and values of the farm. I'll go through a little bit really quickly the RFP process, the dates and process, and what we're really looking for in a proposal. Besides looking for a unicorn, I'm kidding, because everyone's looking for a unicorn. We are really excited to find an operator who gels with the mission and values of Hortulus Farm, which I mentioned earlier. We have prepared for this moment by building an incredible foundation of trust with our customers, our partners, the guests, and our team. I would say it's a little bit bittersweet for us to even think about stepping back from the day-to-day operations in that perspective, because we really love Hortulus and we love everything about it. And it sometimes feels like the perfect life, being able to work in the midst of all these beautiful plants and animals and this experience and always meeting new people. It's a lot of fun. But it's the right time for our family to find someone who can dedicate more of the energy and capacity to that. We're an organization that specializes in something that they want to see become the core experience. I'll tell you a little bit about what we're hoping to accomplish through this is to implement, whether it's first thing in the spring or sometime this summer, or sometime this year. We are looking to implement a new core experience or the existing core experience operated by another party, whether it's a person or an organization. As I mentioned very briefly earlier, that ideal partner is someone who can run something destination worthy. That's really important to us. And something that is good for our team, the community, and nature. And you might ask yourself, well, who's eligible to submit a proposal for this, and what is the process for submitting a proposal? Well, the process is quite simple. We're asking for proposals by February 2nd at 6 p.m. And we plan to evaluate them and do some basic due diligence for a couple weeks. And then our goal is by February 16th to announce a letter of intent or agreement with a new operating partner. We have prepared a due diligence packet with a lot of relevant information. We won't be sharing it publicly. It's just a lot of information. But if you would like to participate in the RFP process, I would ask that you go to the Partnership Opportunity tab on our website and fill out the basic request form. And then we will contact you with any additional questions. But if you're the type of partner that we're looking for, we will send you our RFP program. And if you review it and that everything works for you, then we will go into the deeper documents stage after February 2nd. You might the requirements for submitting an RFP are that the operator has the vision, the resources to implement a destination-worthy core experience at Hortulus Farm. If you do have a business, we would ask that you submit a some kind of like financial plan or statement or business plan for this, or a description of what you're currently doing. And you might be asking, well, who's reviewing that? And the answer is that the board, the Hortulus Farm board, which if you weren't on the call at the very beginning, is myself, Ariel, Nick Ventresca, and Elise Karlitz. We run the Hortulus Farm Foundation 501c3. We do not receive compensation for our involvement, and what we're looking for is the best fit for the next season of Hortulus, something that's good for the community, that's good for our team, that's good for the for nature. We do have legal counsel, Chris Koval from Fenningham and Dempster, who is experienced in this kind of thing, who will be assisting us to vet proposals. And you might ask, well, how does the whole nonprofit thing work? How will the interplay work? What decisions will need to be run by the board? How involved is the board going to be? What we're looking for is a operator who has the vision and the resources and the skill to launch this core experience at Hortulus that we can trust with that. We don't want to micromanage a partnership. We don't want to be involved in the day-to-day or in the weeds. We want there to be a high level alignment around the mission and the values of Hortulus and the vision, the destination, that it's upscale, clean, beautiful, and our guests are served by a warm and hospitable team. That is the kind of the decision-making framework, what we're looking for. And that's really not something we're going to micromanage, but that's what we're looking for on the front end. As far as a nonprofit, there is really no difference between a nonprofit making an agreement like this and a for-profit. We have to make decisions around what we invest our resources in based on our mission. But for the on-farm experience that will be managed by the new operator, that experience will be completely run, and the new operator will be compensated accordingly for their services they provide. You might be asking, well, is this going to be like a lease or a revenue share, or is this going to be something else or super complicated? It's a good question. We don't have, that's not our primary decision grid, is what does the agreement look like? Um, our our priority is to find an operator who has that passion and has that desire to continue building on the foundation of experience that we have laid, and how to do that will be, I think, based on what partner we end up selecting and moving forward with. But any organization or individual is eligible to submit a request for an RFP. If we don't feel that it's the right fit, we will reach out to you and let you know. If it is the right fit, then we'll send you the RFP requirements, which is a 50-page document with a bunch more information that would be important to evaluating the opportunity. So I think that's most of what I have in terms of the RFP process. I'd like to open it up for some questions that we can respond to. I might expound on some things. Ariel just handed me a note just to clarify that we want to facilitate, the Hortulus Farm Foundation wants to facilitate the partners' mission as well. I know, there's, one potential, person that reached out and, they wanted to, create like a native plant nursery or something like that. To the degree that it aligns with the Hortulus mission, we want to facilitate that as well. That makes us very excited. We had 250 vendors at the farm, artisans, vendors, and partners over the last year. Artists, like, just incredible, and with the art, the products, the passion reflected is very exciting to us. That's really core to the mission of Hortulus, of introducing those types of folks to our community and expanding our community's access to folks who are passionate. And that is something that really excites us, and we want to facilitate that. So the first question I see here is if we have a plan to have markets in 2024. And the answer is that we do not have any programming planned in terms of markets for 2024 yet. That we will have the new operating partner. I'm sure they'll release their schedule of events and what they're planning on doing. We're not sure exactly when that opening date will be and what exactly the aspects of this programming will be yet, but we will certainly let you know. One of the reasons we are trying to be efficient with our RFP process is that we want to find the right partner, as soon as possible for the sake of the community and our team and our guests that have come to love coming to Hortulus. So, so any other questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. Any concerns, feedback, or clarification needed. So, as a quick recap, the RFP process will be step one, submitting a request for the RFP document on our website in the Partnership Opportunities tab. And then we will review the submissions and send out the RFP document as is appropriate. All proposal submissions should be submitted by February 2nd at 6 p.m. That is when the cutoff is. to submit a proposal, and we will be evaluating for a couple of weeks and probably having some further conversations, and then releasing hopefully on February 16th a decision. So submit for an RFP document on our website, and then we will expect proposals to be submitted by February 2nd. We have a comment. It doesn't seem that you have a real end goal. Are you trying to create a nursery or a botanical garden? So the mission of the farm, the mission of the Hortulus Farm Foundation, I think that's a great question or a comment. The mission of Hortulus Farm is to use this property to benefit the community. And I think that in that we see there's multiple things that would be a benefit to the community. We have a nursery on site right now, and for 40 years, Hortulus was a botanical garden. Ariel and I had the vision to take that experience and make it more of a family experience, a more engaging experience, using that contact with nature. And we plan to, the Hortulus Farm Foundation, we plan to continue investing to that end. But what we're looking for is an operator who will take over the day-to-day on farm. So think about it like we continue to invest in the Children's Botanical Garden, the Woodland Walk, and the kind of nonprofit aspects of what we're doing. And someone else, if it is a nursery, someone else is running the nursery and kind of the core event programming. So it's a bit of, your observation is correct, that we don't have an end goal in terms of it needs to be this or it needs to be that. Our goal will not change, but what we're looking for is an operator who brings their kind of own vision and their own operating expertise to it. Yes, our focus, as Ariel just clarified, is on the people of Hortulus, our guests, and it's through a nature and a natural environment. But we're open-ended in terms of whether it becomes more of a breakfast and lunch, farm to table destination, or the garden center aspect, or it becomes more, kind of event driven in terms of the flowers and the things that we're doing today. We're open to that shift occurring. So, yeah. If you have friends or folks that you think that should be aware of this opportunity, I think it's exciting to me because I think this is like one of those opportunities that's just like the absolute perfect opportunity for someone. We have a tremendous following on social medias, tremendous community support, which we're very grateful for, and a tremendous trust with our guests and community and customers. And I would love to build on that. I really think that there is someone out there that is going to be the perfect person for this. And I'm excited to find them throughout this process. We've already had some conversations with some amazing people. And so we look forward to seeing where this takes us. I would say, if you know somebody, please share the link to this. This link to this video will be up on our website on the Partnership Opportunity tab, so you can share it out and feel free to share it as broadly as you want. We look forward to meeting and through February 2nd receiving proposals and having conversations with folks that have interest in being a part of the future of the Hortulus on-farm experience. So with that, I'll just give here a minute for any other questions or thoughts, feedback, concerns. We did have a survey that we released right after we made this announcement, and it was interesting. A lot of the survey responses were activities for kids and this kind of farm to table type experience, whether through food or plants. And really resonates with what Hortulus is and what the space is set up for. And so we feel that Hortulus is really uniquely poised to meet that need for folks in our area to have like kind of an outdoorsy, kind of nature-filled on-farm experience. We're looking forward to the next season. Thank you very much for participating in the call today. If you do have questions, just in general questions, please feel free to email them to questions@hortulusfarm.com. If they're RFP specific, you can email to rfp@hortulusfarm.com. One other question is here is there an opportunity to have Hortulus open during the week, or is a zoning agreement just for weekends? That's a great question. So we I think 2021 we were open every day. 2022 we had kind of more event programming on the weekends, Friday through Sunday, but we were open Wednesday through Thursday for much of the year. And so, I think we would probably want to update an agreement with the township based on the hours, but there's no restriction from their perspective. It wasn't a concern of the townships that we wouldn't be open longer. It was more just kind of memorializing what the plan was, so it was in writing. So yes, I think there is an opportunity to have Hortulus open during the week. Thank you all for attending today. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for attending and just coming to Hortulus Farm and coming to our events and being a regular supporter. We appreciate you and hope you have a blessed day.